Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to another premiere draft of the super sweet Final Fantasy set. Without further ado, let's get into the pack 1 pick 1, where we have an excellent rare Jet Reluctant Guardian here, 4 mana, 4/3 menace. When he deals combat damage to a player, you can exile him and return him to the battlefield transformed, where you get a massive, like, 4-for-1. Your opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and you have a 7/7 menace. Then you do it again the second turn. Then on the third turn, you do have to sacrifice Braska's Final Aeon, but your opponent has to sacrifice 2 of their creatures. So this card goes insanely far, gets you really ahead if you can flip it. It's a little difficult to do that because your opponent's going to be doing absolutely everything in their power to stop you. Usually that involves them just casting one removal spell on the Jet, but still a really strong card that is going to win you the game if you can get that flip. So definitely going to take that here. Pick number 2, we got some sweet stuff yet again. We have some reasonable black cards here. Reno and Rude works pretty well with some of the job select commons because they're spitting out both a 1/1 creature token and an expendable equipment to sacrifice. So cards like Black Mage's Rod work well with Reno and Rude, and I've had fun with that in the past. That said, I don't think they're super powerful on their own. You do need to build around quite a bit, and even then they're just solid. Black Mage's Rod I wouldn't take over Reno and Rude. And then there are some strong off-color options, which is what I'm going to go with here. The Ilmeg Pixie, I think, is just really good all by itself. Doesn't require any building around. Flyers have played really well in the set, just an evasive threat, hard for your opponent to block, easy to get damage in. And this one in particular sets up your draws, so really efficient, really solid card. Pick 3, I do not mind taking a second copy of an Ilmeg Pixie here, although there's other reasonable options. Sticking to black, the Shambling Seath is a 3/3 that enters tapped, but whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can spend a single black mana to return it from your graveyard to your hand. So if you mill this, or if you trade it off at any point, you can go, you can basically draw another card when you're casting another non-creature spell later, which is pretty nice. I mean, it's always a 3 mana 3/3 that you're drawing out of your grave, but it's still pretty good value. I still think I'm a huge fan of the Pixie, and I'd rather take that over the Seath. But I did want to shout out that card as pretty dang solid, and it works well with cards like Shinra Reinforcements here that do self-mill, so that's pretty cool. Pick 4, we have Hectize. Very solid common out of black. Just a 2 mana 1/1 makes your opponent discard a card when you play it. Very good with any reanimation kind of spells, or anything that wants you to sacrifice a creature, like cards that make each player sacrifice a creature. This is pretty good with, like Reno and Rude it's good with, because you can just sack your 1/1 later after it already got good value when it entered the battlefield. Yeah, pretty happy to take Hectize here, sticking to our black with Jet. I will take Hectize over Reno and Rude. I think this card is similar to Ilmeg Pixie, just really solid by itself, but there's also plenty of ways to build around it well, whereas the Reno and Rude, you need the ways to build around it. Yeah, we'll go with that. The other best card's probably Chocobo Kick, because we certainly aren't completely tied to our current colors. We're only on pick 4 there. Pick 5, Ultros is really fun with some 4 mana value or larger non-creature spells. Currently we have none of those though. We have 4 creature spells, so nothing that works with Ultros. I am quite likely to stick to blue and black here though. I'm a big fan of every card we've drafted so far, and they're all in only blue and black, so I don't see a huge argument for the Gourmet, even though it is one of the stronger cards, or the Sid, just because they're off color from what we're doing right now. I guess that leaves us with the Ahriman. Card's perfectly fine. It's definitely filler, but it's decent filler. Trades off into basically anything later in the game on blocks because it's flying and death touch, and it's got a nice value ability there, sacking creatures to draw cards. Pick 6, wow. So green's open. Unfortunately, we have no birds, obviously, because we're not in green. We haven't drafted any Chocobos, but Bart's and Boko's really good. As long as you just have a single Chocobo on the board, you have a Chocobo out, you play 1 land, that's a 3-power creature, so when you play Bart's and Boko, they're a 4 mana 4/3 at that point that deals 3 to any target. Really strong. Yeah, I mean, pick 6 is quite the sign. We might have to ditch blue here. Although the green spell's incredibly filler and there's nothing in black. So the only thing to speculate on here is just another blue spell like Quistis, letting us recast a cheap removal spell from either player's graveyard. Quite nice. Syncopate also plays well in the set. Plenty of good spells to counter. And there's graveyard abilities. There are ways to pick up creature cards from your graveyard, and there are ways to flash back your instants and sorceries. So Syncopate specifically being a counterspell that exiles has played pretty well. Luckily, we do see some more good green stuff now. We found a couple birds to go with Bartz and Boko. In a vacuum, I think there are definitely decks where T-Rexar is better. Just as a great way to stabilize, a 6/6 that gains you 3 when it hits the board. But the Fat Chocobo has excellent synergies with Bartz and Boko, being 2 birds off of the 1 spell. Pick 9, we just take a filler green card over a filler card for blue. Pick 10, filler green Death Toucher. So green black or green blue, we'll see. Actually have 3 black spells and 3 blue spells, so we could go either way if we open like a really powerful card in either color. Certainly think I'm playing green though. Again, pick 6 Bartz and Boko is a solid sign. Well, I guess we delayed that decision between blue and black because Traveling Chocobo works very well with all of the bird cards and all of the landfall cards. Yep. Yeah, this card's really nice. Even by itself, it's kind of a card draw engine where anytime you have a land on top of your deck, you can play that land off the top of your deck so that in your next draw step, you're drawing something else. So that's a good card advantage play. Obviously, if we have a Bartz and Boko or a Fat Chocobo on top of our deck, it's even better. We can cast those off the top of our deck. And this is going to double up our land and bird triggered abilities. So it will double up Bartz and Boko's enter effect, the Fat Chocobos enter effect, and all of our landfall triggers on the Chocobo tokens. So, card seems sweet here. Are we high enough on Chocobos to just take one here? I kind of think so. The fiercest competition is a removal spell at a blue with Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum. So if we lock in on blue now, we can get a removal spell, of which we currently have 0. However, it's a removal spell that doesn't synergize with our flashback card, and it requires us to lock in on our second color, give up on the black spells. I'm just going to take the Chocobo. I know that's going to be good, and we don't have any 2-mana creatures yet in our main color. Could definitely get punished for waiting on deciding our second color this late, because it's possible by the time we choose our second color, we just don't get past any more removal spells in it. And green, as a color, only really has like 1 removal spell. It's like just the Chocobo kick, as far as I remember. Don't think I'm in a position to take like a Choco Comet here and try to move to red, when I'm already 3 really solid cards deep towards just picking blue or black. If we go that way, take the Bard's Bow here. Like, in order for us to be interested in taking the Choco Comet there, or taking a red spell in general, we have to decide that that red spell is better than Jet, Ahriman, and Hectize combined. And that's quite unlikely. Or better than Quistis and 2 Pixies combined. Pick 4, no green. So take a Phaidon, an Evil Reawakened, a Sahagin, or a Rook Turd. This is not a good Sahagin deck. There are 0 cards to trigger it. Rook Turd, it's not good either. Yeah, Phaidon or Evil Reawakened looks like the pick here. Evil Reawakened's pretty good with some big Saga creatures that sack themselves, or just a little self-mill. I'll take the Evil Reawakened here. Get a Shinra Reinforcements for self-mill to go with that card. Another pack where there's no green. There's our 1/1 Death Toucher again. Fine way to start the game and just slow our opponents down. Or we could take Crossroads Village because we have no fixing yet. That's probably useful enough. Pick 7. Very filler scout, a very filler trader. Yeah, not a good pack. Even if we're blue, I don't think Thief's Knife is that good. It's pretty good with like a double pixie. It's worth the speculation over Blitzball. I don't think I'm gonna be that pumped about Blitzball in here, honestly, so get that chance, yeah, and then get an Ice Magic here over a pretty weak Limit Break. Vincent's Limit Break is good with Hack Dies, but that's about it. Could we wield 2 copies of Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, so I guess it's blue. I guess we actually do flop right back around. Can't imagine I'm playing Lunatic Pandora, but neither am I playing Rook Turret. We get another copy anyway. Alright, well, we know where we're at now, and we only need about 6 more playables to have a whole deck, and if we find more than 6 cards that make the cut, we get to start cutting some of our more filler cards like Rook Turret. So we find 6 or 7 cards, we're going to have a solid deck here. We find 8 or 9, or just 8 plus, and we're going to have a really good deck. So we're in a pretty good position here, despite the bouncing around. That said, I don't think anything here, pack 3, pick 1, is particularly good. I could take the Trino and try to just be green-blue and also splash in a jet. Honestly, doesn't seem horrific. The card is so powerful, it's likely worth being a one-of splash like that. Outside of that, there's like Iridia's Return, which is a little expensive, a little slow, but some decent flexible options there. Or a fine draw spell, Dreams of Laguna. Yeah, I mean, I've got a Crossroads Village plus a Trino now. Sure, we'll work towards a potential jet splash. Pack 3, pick 2. There's a Wanderings for another way to fix into the black mana. And this specifically can get a town into play tapped, so we can always grab the Trino, get blue and black off of it. It's pretty nice. Sure. Pick 3. There's the Gourmet to go with the Bard's Bows. So when we're making 1/1 hero tokens or 2/2 Chocobo tokens, we're also getting 1/1 frogs, which is pretty good value. But I don't have a lot of 2-mana creatures, and I'm a big fan of the Ilmeg Pixie. Another argument here is that there's a Chocobo kick, and I'm not super high on removal yet still. I have 2 Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, 1 Bart's and Boko, and an Ice Magic sort of. Lunatic Pandora in a major pinch. I probably need to take Chocobo Kick, but I really love those pixies. Alright, well, we got a millionth copy of Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, so that makes the last pick worse. I'd rather have like 1 more pixie and 1 more Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum than 1 Chocobo Kick and 1 Wyvern, or a Chocobo Kick and a Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum. These are both very good cards. We could take either here. Quistis is much higher on the mana curve because we want to recast a card with her, so we only have 4 3-drops. That's not too many yet. We could play the Wyvern. Yeah, card is just really good. 2/1 flyer and a 1/1 for 3. Just a good stat line for the cost. Pretty simple stuff. Another Chocobo Kick. Man, I wish I took the Pixie. Just with the way pack 2 went, I did not think we were going to get any Chocobo Kicks in this pack, and that I would have to take them really highly to get removal in here. Bummer. The Chocobo Kick does make our Quistis a lot better, having instant or sorcery style removal instead of enchantment based removal, so I will be taking it over a T-Rexar. Pick 6. Pack looks bad. Take a Crossroads Village. Pick 7. Oh my god. Another Chocobo Kick. That's kind of funny. There's a capital city for us, though. It's very nice. Pick 9. We wield the big 5-mana green sorcery thing. That's probably fine. So green, blue, splash, jet. We don't want to play any rook turrets, ideally. This is 4 lands right now. This is 22 non-lands. I guess we gotta play 1 rook turret currently. Creatures and non-creatures. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 creatures. Tiny bit low, but perfectly fine. Yeah, we kind of just have a deck here. Edit a little bit as we make our future picks. If we get anything solid, we get to cut the rook turret. Pick 10. I mean, the merchant is solid. It's also our 6th 3-mana card. Don't know about cutting rook turret for it. Oh wow, we got the gourmet. It's definitely solid. Commune with beavers. Okay, we got a bunch of reasonable cards. I will actually cut the turret at this point then. So Commune with Beavers picks up creatures, artifacts, or lands. So the more non-creature, non-land cards in your deck, the worse it gets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 instants and sorceries. It's 8 misses with Commune. Yeah, maybe not a Commune deck. 1 final cut here. Holy 3 drops, Batman. Not that into the Blitzball shot. It's incredibly flavorful with Jet, though. But I think it's the cut here. Our mana curve is just an absolute clump at 3, which means we're not going to have a lot of games where we're like really curving out aggressively against our opponent, just constantly sending in and forcing blocks. So it feels like finding blitzball shot opportunities is not going to come up extremely often. We're also not a deck with any of the 8/8 diamond weapons at the top of our curve, or the giant cactuar or anything. So we don't have any really cute, really big combos for this later either. It's just a reasonable combat trick to be casting turn 5 after I went 3-drop, then attack with both on turn 5, which is kind of a mediocre time to be throwing combat tricks out. So I think I would rather just have all of our other spells here. Cut the blitzball shot, call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay, see how this one does. We got the Thief's Knife plus Flyer Wombo combo here, game 1. Pretty slow combo, but strong cards individually too, which helps. Drew another Ilmag Pixie. I wish we were on the triple Pixie. Card is solid. There's Reno and Rude from our opponent, which we don't really care about unless they play something super expendable next turn, in which case... Okay, I guess we kind of care if we put a good card on top of our deck, because it's going to exile the card. Shoot. Yeah, that does make things a little awkward, doesn't it? I'm going to do this right now because they're on blue, so I can't get syncopated here. So even if they don't sack a card, they exile the top card of our deck. So surveilling into our mythic Chocobo is awkward for us. If we don't immediately kill Reno and Rude, then they kill our Chocobo. All right. We drop the Chocobo and pray for a land on top right now for insta value. Beautiful. You love to see it. You'll love to see it. Even if they kill Traveling Chocobo immediately, it already drew us a card, so it was a good 2-for-1. And obviously, if they don't kill it immediately, it's threatening to do some real good stuff. Find another land on top. That is a second piece of card draw from the Chocobo. Now I can play Thief's Knife plus Pixie, setting up for the re-equip soon. Yeah. Seems good. Resentful Revelation. Our opponent's doing some digging here. They milled their own Pixie to pick something else up. They pass the turn with 3 mana up. Does make it a lot worse to spend 4 mana to move this equipment around, because if I spend the 4, move it to the Pixie, and they respond by blowing the Pixie up, it's a pretty bad deal. So I think I'm just going straight to combat. Not spending the mana here. So they blow up the Pixie without soaking up 4 mana, or they just blow up the Chocobo. Oh, it's the bounce spell, that's why. Okay. I was going to say, why would they kill the 1/1 there? It's because it's the bounce spell. They can't kill anything else. They can just put it back in our hand. I don't mind Chocobo Kick as a draw, especially with a Death Toucher on board, potentially. But even if they trade into the Death Toucher here, we have the deal 6 with the Kicker ability. The big argument to Surveil into the Grave there is that if I do, I might be able to hit a bird for the Traveling Chocobo and get like an immediate piece of card draw, but I'm not worried about it. So I only remember one board wipe out of black. It's the rare Xeno Sky. He's kind of unbeatable. I think that's the only card I'm really, really scared of right now. Xenos is like a 4/4 that gives everybody else -2/2. So they would kill the whole board except our merchant. Okay. Surprised they didn't kill the Traveling Chocobo again. Can draw into the Wanderings here. Knife onto the Flyer. Send the squad. Attacking with Merchant because I'm going to tap out of the mana that I would need to draw a discard off of it anyway. There's a 3/4. Gives them another treasure token. So it gets them closer to the 3 they need to make their giant dragon on the ground. Alright, pass. I think it really matters here, but I guess Capital City is technically the safest land to pick up. That's a draw. I mean, I guess I already had Chocobo Kick, but still. This is a little safer than Chocobo Kick. They can't respond with the removal spell to this. Cool. So I still have the passive abilities of the Traveling Chocobo, just not the triggered abilities, so I will still be able to play stuff off the top. And they concede there anyway. Fair enough. We were going to put them to 1, draw a card, and pass. It's going to be pretty hard for them to recover. And we've started it off 1-0. Very, very solid game 1. Game 2 on the draw. When we keep it, it's got all of our colors, but it doesn't start till 3, so we will be under a little bit of pressure here. Especially with the best 1-drop in the whole set. Turn 1 from our opponent. Expect to see Saz's Chocobos absolutely gosh darn everywhere. Town Greeter, mill 4, pick up their next land to play. They did not mill a town at least. So they play a swamp for the Chocobo. I've got the Death Toucher, so they can't really send the Chocobo until they kill it. Or they can. Alright. Very fair. We take those trades all day. I like running out the Thief's Knife here with a hand with 3 pieces of removal to try to get the damage in. Oh yeah. It is technically slightly embarrassing to use removal spell on a 1/1, but I would much rather draw a card here than have them just chump with a 1/1. So I'm basically just discarding Chocobo Kick to draw a card, which is worth it. We like the cycle, and we find Traveling Chocobo for the future. Very nice. Chocobo Racetrack, alright. Activated abilities can't be activated. This is a triggered ability that triggers whenever you play a land. So we can't stop the Chocobo Racetrack. I think we play Traveling Chocobo pre-combat because that gives us 2 opportunities to see a land on top. If there's a land right now, I play it for turn. If there's not, I hit them, draw a card, and check if the next card's a land. If neither of the top 2 are a land, then we're sad. Unlucky. That next card is not bad against the Racetrack, though. I mean, card advantage-wise, it's pretty bad to spend a whole spell just to kill 1 Chocobo token when the Racetrack can make 1,000,000 of them. But we have some decent card advantage plays thanks to Thief's Knife and Traveling Chocobo. So in terms of just like keeping the board clear, Ice Magic still looks good here. Just clearing out a token. Alright, there we go. We hit a land off Traveling Chocobo. Got the Ice Magic for 1 of the tokens. 6 mana total. I can't kill all of the stuff. So Earth Crystal is doubling up their +1/+1 counters, so I do want to kill this Fenrir pretty bad, because it'll give their next creature 2 +1/+1 counters, plus on Chapter 3 it'll draw them a card, so I'm spending a card to get them to not draw a card. Yeah, Chocobo Kick the Fenrir then. And then I just end up trading my hero into 1/2/2. Might just have to be jumping in the sky here. Try to get the Thief's Knife on a flyer. Yeah. Alright. I can Ice Magic once they've actually like put 1,000,000 +1/+1 counters onto one of these Chocobos. We'll have to hold here. Well, that was pretty weak. Huge work from Dragoon's Wyvern, giving us the expendable 1/1. They're Chocobo kicking here. Chocobo Kick is exceptional for our opponent here, because it lets them pick up a land and play another 2/2 Chocobo. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Never getting hit on the ground again, so take that kill there. Okay, Heck Dice doesn't matter. These are all 3/2s if they play just 1 land, so a 1/4 is genuinely a better blocker than a 3/3. definitely have to draw a card here. So our only route to victory is the flyers. I die to this Earth Crystal really quick. If we don't get a ton of interaction. That is not a ton of interaction. Now that we have gotten the expensive equip out of the way on the Wyvern, we get to hold up Ice Magic plus Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum next turn. But the board is super wide now. How does Earth Crystal work? It's only 2 +1/+1 counters. So it's 4 +1/+1 counters total on 1 or 2 creatures. So I only really need to deal with 1 or 2 creatures, which makes this work, this 5 mana worth of stuff. It's gonna be a race, but we have a chance despite how wide their board is. Especially with a fat Chocobo now, I can play that and still have the Ice Magic or Summoner's Sanctum up. Not both, but still feels worth it. Jet is genuinely not that good right now, because we really can't hit them with Jet. It's just a 4 mana, 3 toughness blocker, which is pretty bad when all their attackers are 3/2s. So, I don't mind draw a card, discard Jet here. Oh, this is so bad. The flashback there. Okay. Clear out as many of these as we can. Find somebody cheaper than Jet, maybe? Nope, that's the land. Goodbye, land. Down to 9. 5, 6, 7 attackers over there. I can't lethal them. I have 1 removal spell. I can tap this down and they have 2 toughness total. That 2 toughness stops 2 of the Chocobo damage. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to survive another swing. Eight mana. I can have 4 blockers up. Block 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures get hit by 3 2/2s and another 2/2. So 4 2/2s for 8. I go to 1 life. Okay. I guess then I die to them recasting the greens with the wizard token. So I have to hit something here. Oh god. I really don't think I can't. I don't think I can not attack. Because if I don't attack, then I'm definitely just dead in 2 swings. But if I attack here, I can get a kill on a next turn swing. I think that's dead. Yeah, Jet stops just as much damage as Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum does, so we just play the blockers. Pass. I believe I am dead to all attack recast greens. I am not dead to them activating Earth Crystal. Wait, unless it's instant speed. It might be instant speed. If Earth Crystal's instant speed, I'm just super dead no matter what. Because this just taps a thing, so I can't do this post, like, combat. Oh, right, yeah, they can just put it on those, and then I am super dead, period. Yep. Bummer. Earth Crystal too strong. I mean, really, the MVP card was the final days there. Felt like a winnable game, winnable matchup, but just not quite it. A literal turn off. Flooded slightly too hard. Here we are for game 3 with an awful opening hand. Choco Kick does literally nothing without a creature on your board. Rydia's Return does literally nothing without creatures in your grave. This hand is horrible. Pretty much a forced mulligan there, and we will keep this one. Hope to get some good Traveling Chocobo value. It is a gamble to just pray that I naturally draw a land here. Like, it's not guaranteed at all. But if I do naturally draw land, Ice Magic is so much better than a 4th land in hand. I'll take the gamble here. We have 3 draw steps to hit 1 land. Got it immediately. Cactuar. Probably not the worst trade. Okay. I was going to say, this is probably not the worst trade, but I honestly don't know if I need to trade with it, because it just goes back to their hand. Oh, God. Well, if there was a game to find out if Cactuar is good or not, it's going to be this game where we're getting double Cactuared. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. I am not going to be blocking with a 2-2. So send it. If they want the trade, they can have the trade. I'd rather ramp here or play the Chocobo. They've played 1 removal spell, but they're red and black. Heavy removal colors. Yeah, make them have it. There's a Chocobo kick for us. Xanarkand. We make it to Xanarkand with this one. Cactuar. Okay. Double Cactuar Dream Team. Kina. Kina, you don't do anything right now. To the point where I kind of want to Wanderings and see if I shuffle into a land on top. Already got the capital city. I guess I've got Trino in there. We grab that. We did not get a land on top. Basically force the trade here. Goodbye, Cactuar. And they just ramp up, reach the horizon. Fair enough. 2 blue sources. Uh-oh. Time to see the bomb rare they splashed in. Although Balam Garden is a bomb rare itself. A Balam rare. They can flip it into a vehicle that crews for only 1. A 5/4 flyer that draws a card every time it attacks. Incredibly good card. Our Traveling Chocobo has not been an incredibly good card. It has drawn 0 cards this game. So it's done technically not literally nothing, but basically nothing. It did double our Chocobo tokens triggers, but those were just threatening extra damage. An Earth Crystal again. Don't you same rare me. Hey, we drew 1 card off Chocobo. Ooh, a Thief's Knife. I think I need to play that immediately. If I had the mana to play this Chocobo token, I would, but I don't, so I'll just clear out the Cactuar. Pick up the Chocobo in response to removal. They play a Tifa. Tifa plus Earth Crystal is kind of scary. I don't know about that. Yeah, let's just not deal with that, please. Got them down to 9 now. Suplex a Chocobo. Animal cruelty. Just call the Mountain Chocobo, pick up a Mountain and a Chocobo token. Excellent, excellent card, because they can flash it back as well. I am not super happy right now. Because we had them real close. They just keep hitting removal. Am I supposed to move this knife and draw a card here, or just add to the board still? I think I'm on move the knife, draw a card. It's a good one. Call another Mountain Chocobo. Jam 3 damage, no blocks. That makes our attacks better with the Merchant here. Well, I guess not. They already had basically had to just chump. Okay, they're gonna chump here and stop us from drawing the card. Really, they got a trick off the top? Ay, ay, ay. Was a very good draw. That is a nothing burger. Move the equipment back for 4, but this is going to be a 6/6, 7/6 on attacks. So we're just chumping with a 1/1 regardless. Ooh, or we get the chump from them. Take that. Alright, they finally missed on a draw step, so they just flip the vehicle. Or actually, they just have enough mana and I like to flip the vehicle and play a spell. We'll see. Vehicle is super bad for me, but I can't do anything about it. Good draw. This is 6 to re-equip, isn't it? Yeah, I can't have a reach blocker up. Yeah, there's nothing to Chocobo kick. Can move the Thief's Knife, I guess. Doubt that matters, but guess since we can. Our whole board has Trample next turn off Fat Chocobo, so that's big. Oof. That was stressful. That was way closer than the life totals may make it seem, because as we saw from that Earth Crystal, they can make their Balam Garden a 9 power creature. So we were at essentially 2 life there if they played any creature that costs 3 mana or less, which is at least half the creatures in most decks, you know, like Cactuars and stuff are just 1 mana. So, yeah, that was close. It was basically 2 life to 2 life. 2 and 1, heading into game number 4. Here we are for game 4 with no green mana. 6 card hand is very mid, but I'll keep it. Ditch the second blue. I could see ditching the village in case I draw like a good 2-drop or something. But the village is a town, so it makes the draw 3 on the merchant cheaper, which I always forget about. I've never sacrificed the merchant to draw 3, but last game might have been a good opportunity to do so. Or whatever the last game we had the merchant in was. Do not syncopate the merchant. He is but a humble salesman. Thank you. Ooh, stuck on blue? They're stuck on island? Normally, this would be a big bummer, but I'm feeling villainous today. They want to get stuck on mana? Well, they don't want to get stuck on mana, but if they're gonna get stuck on mana, we take those. Okay, with this amount of mana in my hand, is it really worth poking for 1 or 2 damage instead of just drawing and discarding a card? It's got to be better to just draw and discard. I guess not if that's the top card, but because that's the top card, does mean we dug closer to an actual creature. Yeah, this hand is not good at punishing them for getting stuck on mana. We're doing like no damage for a long time. Get another town here. Set up that draw 3 soon. Wow, this hand is bad. Oh, please. No! It doesn't do anything unless they have a creature out. Oh, what is happening? I'm gonna have 2 islands to like turn 6 or 7 and it's just gonna be fine. So many decks would have already killed our opponent by now. This is embarrassing. There we go. We found a creature. I can draw 3 for 3 mana. That's got to be worth it. With Rydia's return in hand to pick up the merchant again anyway, that's got to be worth it. I could sack at any time though, so I don't have to do it. Force 3 speed. No, they found the swamp. It's all over. Okay, that's their only flyer for now, so let's shut that off. Be mana efficient about it so I can sack this draw 3 and do something else next turn. Find another. Cool. Good cards. Oh my god, Jet. Yeah, we're playing Jet. For sure. Another Pixie. Alright, we got through the clump because we had infinite time to get through the clump. This hand was so slow it would have lost a lot of other games real quick, but theirs would have as well. We both got kind of lucky in terms of the game that we got into here. The game we got our really slow hands in. Okay, if Jet connects, they just lose pretty much on the spot, so we're going to spend all the removal that we need to make sure that Jet connects. I mean, I guess the sack a creature part kind of does nothing. But the discard plus draw is really good, and it's a 7/7 menace, so, like, it's gonna be nasty. Yeah, the final part, because we have 2 enchantment-based removal spells on board, they just sack the 2 creatures that are already pacified. But the first 2 chapters are filthy here. Yeah, even if this gets blown up here, it already did a lot of work with the discard plus draw. I have no birds for Bartz and Boko. I do have Rydia's Return here. That's probably the play. Although I suppose if I wait and just like play the Wyvern, I can try to Rydia's Return for lethal with +3/+3 to everybody. Yeah, it's probably better. As long as they don't board wipe with whatever his name is. The 5 mana 4/4 that gives everybody -2/2. Alright, they don't have the second black, so this is game. Each of our flyers hits for 5 when they've got +3/+3, so they can stun 1 flyer, but we hit them with the other 2 for 10. Alright, kind of a free win there. Our opponent got a really, really unlucky start, really bad start with their mana, and we still really didn't punish them for a long time, but luckily we did find some actual spells to cast in the end of that game there, so 3-1, head into game number 5. Alright, game 5. This is an awkward one, but it's right on that borderline where I'm going to keep it. 4th grade source, oh boy. Gonna get a lot of mileage off this Wanderings picking up the blue-black land. Technically, Capital City is either of the other 2 colors as well, but we have to play off-curve with Capital City, which I'm really not into. We have to spend 4 mana for our 3 mana Thief's Knife and so on. So I'm actually going to cycle it here since we know we can get the blue-black land. They are not a blue deck. I don't have to worry about them countering Wanderings. Magitech Infantry is super good with that cat. This is going to be painful. I guess they didn't play land for turn, so they don't get to make that a 3/3 Flying Vigilance yet. But once they activate the infantry, that's 2 artifacts on board. This is a 3/3 Flying Vigilance. That cat is really good if you get it to the 3/3 stat line. Okay. I believe we are playing the 3 toughness blocker and killing the cat here. Yeah. Definitely playing this on blue so I can double spell in the future. There was an argument to play the Pixie instead. So that I could play another blue source that turn, kicking Chocobo Kick to deal 4. That's a very lucky draw. This turn will be considerably better, casting 2 spells instead of just 1. Alright, we both got 4 power on the board. I'm at a lower life total right now, but I get to surveil and potentially draw cards on my attacks. They have more infantries they can pull out of their deck at worst. They also have a Zac to play from hand. Yeah, so now their board is way better than ours. Really need them to not have instant speed removal on our flyer. Or this kind of goes into the dumpster here, because between the infantry pulling out more copies, the castle guard dying and replacing itself, and the Zac giving somebody indestructible, we are never getting through with Thief's Knife on the ground. So I just need them to not be able to interact with this Pixie or this game's over. But they can probably interact with this Pixie. Maybe not. We are really desperate here. Okay, that's our one plan. Surveil 1 plus draw 1 every turn and hope to hit straight gas. Island is not straight gas, but it is fine, so I have the option of Summoner Sanctum instead of Ice Magic here. Yep, this is what they call not good. Hopefully they have like a Chocobo kick here we can counter with Ice Magic. That's a no, going straight to combat. Alright, I'll kill an infantry or a Zac and take 5. Infantry it is. I just go to pass. I pray that they were in a draft pod where people understand the power of infantry and they're not a 4+ infantry deck, because those decks are absurd and why you take Magitech infantry super highly. Or why you should take Magitech infantry super highly. I don't know if you do or not, but I do. Don't you dare. So no matter what I do here, I don't get to draw the card anymore, which is the important part. That's really bad. Don't think I can afford to spend mana on saving that when I could instead Bard's Bow up a big enough creature to not die on blocks here. In theory. I'm still super dead to removal, but what are you gonna do? It's all gas all day. Go to 3. And they have the mana to use infantry again if they have a 3rd in their deck. That is one of the only draws in the whole deck that keeps us alive in theory. If they don't have a 3rd infantry. Oh! The triple infantry draft pod. That's game. Oh, that was a incredible hand from our opponent. They hit 5 lands all game and stopped. And then, of course, the infantries are really, really rough when you're trying to find blocks. Getting 3 creatures off of the 1 card itself. Alright. Rough matchup there for us, but we are 3-2 now heading into game 5. Game 6. I know numbers. This hand is insane if it hits lands. Traveling Chocobo into Bart's and Boko. But if it misses lands, we lose. Tremendously, tremendously gambly hand for sure. but I'm gambling. Leave. You know, it's gonna be a while since I have leftover mana for Ice Magic. I don't mind the bounce here. Oh wait, no, that was dumb. Oh my god. I had a whole plan in my head of why I was bouncing that. Oh, it works out anyway. It works out anyway. They have a 2-drop. Okay, I was bouncing it so that in theory, turn 3 they can't activate it because they have to recast and they only have 2 mana. But because I bounced it during combat, they could have just replayed it main phase 2 and then still activated it turn 3. Luckily, they had another 2-drop they wanted to play, though. So they still don't get to activate the infantry on 3. Alright, as far as I remember, blue-white shouldn't have a way to kill this Chocobo for only 3 mana, unless I attack with it. At least not at common. Yeah, so there's the infantry with no activate this turn. There's a Zac. It's the same deck! I don't like this matchup, but I do like Traveling Chocobo into Bartz and Boko. That is savage. They can save one of these with Zac, which is going to be the infantry for sure. Cool. I have Quistis for Ice Magic now. That's pretty awesome. Ooh, they naturally drew a Magitech infantry. Yeah. One less they can have in their deck now, but they keep the 3 up to get the 3rd copy. I could also Quistis a Chocobo kick later. It's kind of sick. Okay, I kind of don't care if they kill Bartz and Boko. I really care if they kill Traveling Chocobo. So that's Chocobo kick with the Bartz and Boko here. Cool. Thief Knife post-combat. Yep. 3rd infantry again. Man. I feel like every time I've drafted infantry, I've only gotten 2 copies. And I've drafted them pretty highly when I've been in those white decks. We did have a 4 Magitech infantry deck, and that was sealed. That was particularly gross. But again, that was sealed. I didn't draft them. They were just immediately in the sealed pool. Aerith Rescue Mission. Get a bunch of 1/1s. Cool. Hey, Jet. Alright, that's a great card on top of my deck here. Can Quistis for a 3 mana spell now. I kind of want to wait for 4. I could Aerith Rescue Mission and stun stuff. Yeah, all I can kill now is a 1/1 with Quistis. But I guess if I don't play Quistis, I'm not playing anything. I'm playing Stuck in Summoner Sanctum right now. Yeah, this turn's slightly booty no matter how I play it. So I guess we are on Chocobo Kick from Grave. Sure. Just in case they have a 4th infantry. Let's get rid of 2 of the 1/1s. Alright, Jet, there better be a swamp right underneath you. No, Chocobo! Oh, That's fine. I think it's slightly easier to draw cards with Traveling Chocobo than it is with Thief's Knife. Sure. I kind of jinxed myself when I said it was easier to draw cards with the Chocobo. These are not lands or birds. But what I mean is I don't have to connect to draw the cards with the Chocobo, I just have to randomly have the right type on top. Which I think is over half the deck right now. 11 lands, 1... Well, there's only one bird. Okay, there's 12 hits out of the 25, so it's slightly less than half our draws off Traveling Chocobo. Love that sound effect. Opponent literally gambling and winning money too. Flan. Alright. Stay tapped. Barb's Bow. I'll save this Stuck in Summoner Sanctum and use the Chocobo kick instead. Because Jet is worse when they have stunned creatures on their board. I want to use the enchantment-based removal as a last resort. Although, realistically speaking, if we flip this, they're probably dying before we reach Chapter 3. They're at 10 life, it's a 7/7 menace. Alright, they failed that gamble. They don't get to draw a card off Gold Saucer next turn. Unless they sacrifice the Aura Sight, which honestly, if you're desperate, not the worst play. They don't even want to do it, though. I guess... Okay, it is pretty bad, because this gives me a token when it hits the board. If this was just the equipment and it didn't come with a creature attached, it would not be the worst to, like, sack it to draw the card. But it does come with a creature, so then I'd have 5 creatures on board, unless they top deck Ultima, like the board wipe. That game was over there. Just some flood from our opponents. A lot of good work done by our card draw engines that game. The Thief's Knife and the Traveling Chocobo. Mainly the Traveling Chocobo because the Thief's Knife got exiled, but that's what wins those top deck wars there if you've got a good card draw engine like that. So solid stuff. We are 4-2 heading into Game 7. And here we are. We only have 1 green mana, and we have to play off curve to use it, but the hand has powerful enough spells I kind of have to keep it. We start with turn 3 Thief's Knife. We really hope to find a natural green source by turn 3, so I don't have to Capital City. But worst case scenario, we can play turn 4 Traveling Chocobo. Okay. Might be more interested in the Merchant than the Thief's Knife at this point. It feels pretty unlikely we are connecting with Thief's Knife this early. Yeah, definitely not connecting. No natural green, that's pretty rough. 4 mana Traveling Chocobo it is, but they're blue-red, so they are really likely to have the cheap removal for it. I can't really bait out removal. All I can do is play a Thief's Knife, which would just be a 2/2 against a 4/3 and a 3/3, so yeah, they wouldn't use removal against that. Alright. Rough draws so far. Of course, the Chocobo sees a land immediately on top. Could have played it if I had a green source. And there's Lionheart. Brutal. Not only does it kill the Chocobo, but it triggers the Emperor as a 4-mana non-creature spell, and it sticks around as an equipment, and it's not a green source. Well, the Trino is not a green source. Lionheart is not a green source either, but just trying to stack up all the things that are going wrong here, which is quite a massive list. Yeah, I don't see an out here. If one of these, if just a single one of these was a green source, we'd still be in this game off Fat Chocobo. But Capital Cities, this is the problem with filtering lands like this. Making you play your cards a turn later has a significant impact on the game. If I could have played Chocobo for only 3 mana, we would have played a land off the top and actually drew a card off of Chocobo. If I could play Fat Chocobo for only 5 instead of 6, I would immediately have the 4/4 blocker up for the Warrior's Sword. Force at least the equip of Lionheart here. But playing off curve can be absolutely devastating when your opponent has an insane curve out like this. And good lord, do they have an insane curve out. The worst part about it is it's technically only 2 creatures, so like if I just had the right colors to like play a creature plus removal early, I could have killed Emperor before like any of this happened, but I didn't. Oh, this is bad. This is a 5/5 now, isn't it? Yeah, they're doing the 4-mana version, so that's a 5/5. So Chocobo Kick with the Pixie doesn't even deal enough to kill the Emperor. I guess I have to go Pixie, Chocobo, Kick the Sword. Because if I don't top deck an untapped land, I can't even play the Fat Chocobo, so I'm just straight dead if I discard the Pixie. Man, that's such a bummer. Oh my god, it flips. Forgot this thing flips. Okay, no, we just lose. Wow. Well, that was really good stuff from our opponent's deck. And technically, again, all I really needed was 1 removal spell, and the game goes dramatically differently. They only had 1 creature that really mattered. If we could have just killed the Emperor turn 2, like if I had one of my enchantment-based removal spells, we had really, really good tools for stabilizing and flipping the game later with Bart's and Boko and Fat Chocobo. But we just didn't. We had really rough mana. They had the immediate interaction for our Traveling Chocobo. We couldn't interact with the 1 creature that really mattered, so took just probably 15 damage from this 1 creature. That was insane stuff. One of those games of Magical Christmas Land hand versus the Nightmare hand. 4-3 it is to end this draft. Still think the deck was quite solid. I just think we ran up against some really, really strong decks from our opponents in our losses. Obviously, that last game, our opponent had Magical Christmas Land hand, probably their best draw of the day. And the triple Magitech Infantry game, that was really rough as well. That's always going to be really hard to deal with a slower deck, because they get to expand such a wide board state in general. So mainly just some bad matchups today, pulling the deck back here, getting it to that average 4-3 record, more than particularly bad deck or particularly bad draws. We had somewhat bad draws, but I think it's mainly the matchups again today that didn't work out super well. In terms of what we could have done differently in the draft, I think this deck would certainly be better with that 3rd Pixie that I passed up on for Chocobo Kick, because at the time I didn't have a ton of removal. We did end up getting a good chunk, though, with Triple Kick, Double Stuck, and an Ice Magic. And the kicks, as we saw in that game, much, much worse than a deck that doesn't consistently have creatures on the board early. So having less 2-mana creatures does make the Chocobo Kicks quite a bit worse. So, you know, +1 Pixie, -1 Kick does make this deck quite a bit better, I think. Just like a minor adjustment like that. Really happy with the Jet Splash. This card was insane. Britty's Return was pretty dang filler, but I've played with it now, so I've got some experience with it. I can I have an opinion on it officially. My official opinion, pretty mediocre. Traveling Chocobo was incredible. Drew us many cards in many games. Bartz and Boko was fantastic. Yeah, overall really solid deck, but got some rough matchups and 4 and 3 for the average record today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.